I think it would be important to add a little framework here as we talk.
Okay.
It could be useful.
Yeah.
We don't have time to go into it in depth, but I think often in relationships, as we start to talk about this, it's going to be easy to fall into a drama triangle dynamic.
Yeah.
And the drama triangle just is a diagnostic that speaks to when people fall in this dynamic where they see themselves in one of three roles in a relationship. Either the victim that things are happening to, the savior or hero that's saving the victim from those things happening, or the villain that's causing those things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And in a relationship, it's very easy to get into I am the victim, I'm the only one growing, I'm the only one changing, and that bad guy over there, Antonia, she's the one not really putting the work in. Joel over here is doing all the work. He's the victim, she's the villain. Not only is she not working, but she also makes it harder on me, and she's tough, and it's her problem. I am above it all, and I'm going to do the work. Like,
That's right.
that's like this victim. It's like not above it all, but like I'm in trouble, and I got to do. It's like that kind of a thing. Like I'm victim.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm looking for a hero to come and save me, or maybe I could if I only could step into the hero role for our relationship and save it, I wouldn't be the victim. Like it's this dynamic, and it can flex and flow back and forth. We recorded a whole podcast on this, talking about being an empowerment dynamic. You see the victim as a creator. I'm a creator of my reality. I'm not a victim to it. The hero isn't really going to come and save anything. It's a coach, somebody that can kind of offer guidance, advice, and support. And the villain isn't really a bad guy. It's not the villain. It's not an evil person. It's a challenger. It's an energy that's challenging, or a person that's got challenging energy to help put pressure on the creator to create a reality. So it's like a lot more positive way of seeing this, and encouraging way to see this. And so I think that we can easily slip into the first dynamic I mentioned and not the second as we talk about this.
Right.
Not you and me, but somebody listening.
Yeah. So it's been a minute actually, now that I think about it. Like when I say a minute, I mean, I think it's been literally years since we recorded the
Might
podcast.
Be a year 1 or 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh. Like, I mean, by a minute, it might be like nigh on a decade.
Like 9 years ago.
We talked about like you said, the drama triangle, which is that victim, villain, hero. It's an oversimplified model of reality that we get fed to in stories so much. And I think that it's getting worse because we consume so much content.
Yeah.
I think the more we fill our lives with stories that are generated by creators, which we do now. We have so many stories available in streaming platforms, and it's like we can't be a minute alone with our thoughts anymore. We have to be entertained all the time.
Yeah.
So we're getting fed this, this drama triangle all the time because it's such a good writing device, really.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned,
the news uses it now. That's the problem.
And the news.
That's where it went off the rails.
That's right.
They're creating narratives with this dynamic.
Yep.
And so the news article now has to have a villain, it has to have a victim, and it has to have a hero.
Yep.
It's like, oh my God, right? It's like not helpful for anybody.
It really isn't. But now it's painting our reality, right? And that's how reality is designed. And as you mentioned, the antidote is what's called the empowerment dynamic, which, as you just mentioned, swaps the hero for a coach, the victim for a creator, right? So they're not a victim that's just on the receiving end of things, but they're actually creating their world. And instead of the villain, you've got a challenger. Yeah. So I think that's a really good model to reference. Excuse me. And so I also want to, I think that's something we could probably weave in through all of this.
It's good to have in the background as we talk, kind of running in the background.
For sure.
Just because it's easy to fall in this dynamic as we think about our partner.
Yeah, absolutely. When we're talking about our partner being, this villain, it's like, well, maybe they're just challenging us. Maybe that's just what's going on. And the other framework is we're going to look at this idea of taking the statement, I'm the only one that's doing any work in the relationship. We're going to look at it first through the lens of the person making that statement. Why might they feel that way?
Yeah.
Right. Both in intellectually honest and maybe less honest reasons. Right. So like, why would they feel that way if they're being totally intellectually honest? Why might they feel that way if they've got some blind spots? And then the second layer we're going to look at it through is the person who is the partner. Like, why might they be reluctant to do this work? Like, what's going on for them? What might some of those resistances be? And then finally, the person making the statement, how could that statement maybe be a coping mechanism? Yeah. What might be going on in a deeper level for them that they might be unaware of, and maybe maybe this statement is actually a bit of a smuggle for something else going on.
So buckle up. If this is you personally,
Yeah.
right? You in your relationship have made the statement like, I'm the only one doing work. I'm the only one willing to grow. I think it's useful to unpack this and kind of examine. Also, we have a lot of therapists, coaches, and practitioners,
Yeah.
people helpers that listen to this.
Yep.
I think it's also useful because I'm sure if you're listening right now and you work with people, I guarantee you've heard this in couples counseling and in your relationship coaching or therapy or anything. Because I know a lot of those types of people listen as well. So
Yep.
let's get into some of this. I guess this is a fantastic framework to talk about this through.